Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the public board meeting, Tuesday, May 25th. May I have a, oh, I'm sorry, I'm lost my spot already. Everyone, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Mrs. Burns, could you call the roll, please?
Mr. Parentano.
Present.
Mr. Allen.
Present.
Mrs. Bowman.
Here.
Ms. Boyle.
Here.
Mrs. Hallenbeck.
Present.
Mr. Kovitz.
Here.
Mr. Marrington.
Here.
Mr. Cirillo.
Here.
And Mr. Sullivan.
Present.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. The board met in executive session this evening prior to this meeting to discuss matters of employment, the issues related to labor relations, the purchase or lease of real property, matters related to litigation, and matters related to school safety and security. Are there any announcements?
No announcements.
Thank you, Mrs. Burns. Dr. McGee, Superintendent's report, please.
Thank you, Mr. Parentano. I'm going to pause from talking about COVID just for a moment to celebrate a success, and many successes now that we're back to school and things are getting back to normal. But this past weekend, our senior class and the high school administration held our outdoor senior prom. It began with a car parade from Maple Point to the high school property through Langhorne, escorted by the police and our local fire companies. At the high school, there were a series of food trucks, a hypnotist, and then the event culminated in the stadium with I can't believe I'm going to say this, a live rock and roll band and a laser light show. So a very successful event. Congratulations, students who proposed the idea, helped put it together, and the high school administration, Mr. Staub and Ms. Knotts, for making that all happen. And we hope to continue those type events over the next 3 weeks as we can close our school year as we celebrate student success. As far as COVID goes, you're all watching what we're watching as well. On Friday, I'll email the community to talk about our plans for the upcoming year. Our plans for this year are pretty simple. We're staying the course inside our buildings so we can get through the next, I think it's 15 days, keeping everybody structured and feeling safe. And then come the middle of July, we'll begin talking about what next September looks like. On Friday, I'll give parents in the community a little view of what I think it might look like. It's like predicting the weather 3 months in advance. So if you can give us some patience, we'll talk about what September looks like. We are planning for multiple options, including where we are now, hopefully as the most restrictive, the worst case scenario, to a full normal opening as if we did in 2019. So I'll talk more in writing to everybody this Friday before the Memorial Day weekend. Thank you, Mr. Parentano.
Thank you, Dr. McGee. That brings us to our first period of public comment. Is there anybody that has signed up for public comment?
There were no signups.
Seeing no signups, is there anybody in attendance that wishes to approach the podium for public comment? Seeing none, we'll move on to our Section 2, Routine Matters. I'd like to make a master motion for 2.01 minutes, 2.02 Treasurer's Report, 2.03 Check Register and Procurement Card Purchases, 2.04 Budget Transfers, 2.05 Bids, 2.06 Investments, 2.07 Exonerations. A motion's been made. May I have a second? Second by Mr. Sullivan. Any comments, questions, or concerns?
I have a question about 2.05, the bids. They're just like standard operating procedures to put the bids out for these items that we need for next year?
Mr. Irwin?
No, these bids have actually come back. These bids include, so we have firm bids now on 10 buses, the Lower South boiler, the Pequesting chiller, the high school oil tank, and the roofing projects that were all previously discussed. The roofing projects all went out to bid a second time in the last 3 weeks.
Thank you.
And are those all part of our accelerated maintenance schedule that we approved the bond for?
Except for the 10 buses, they all are.
Except for the buses?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Any other additional questions, comments, or concerns? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstention? Motion passes 9-0. I'd like to make a master motion for Section 3.01, annual appointments, 3.02, summer work, 3.03, appointment of treasurer, 3.04, contracted services, 3.05, facilities and energy usage fees, 3.06, depository of school funds, 3.07, competitive electronic auction bidding, 3.08, cooperative purchasing agreements, 3.10, newspaper of record, 3.11, petty cash accounts, 3.12, procurement card use. Master motion's been made. May I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mrs. Hollenbeck. Any comments, questions, or concerns on those items? Hearing none. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstention? Motion passes 9-0. Mr. Kovitz, could you please read 3.09?
Sure, I'd like to make a motion to approve 3.09, breakfast and lunch pricing. Resolved that the Neshaminy School District Board of Directors hereby establishes the following 2021-2022 school year breakfast and lunch prices for 2021 through 2022, reflecting no change from the current school year prices. Therefore, we have elementary breakfast at $1.35, elementary lunch at $2.60, middle school breakfast $1.60, middle school lunch $3.10, high school breakfast $1.60, and high school lunch $3.10.
Thank you, Mr. Kovitz. A motion's been made on 3.09. May I have a second? Second by Mrs. Boyle. Any comments, questions, or concerns on that item?
I just want to make sure that we're going to go back, hopefully, I know we can't predict the weather, to more mainstream food choices as we have in the past. I mean, I know this year it was just boxed lunches for the kids, and is what it is, but we're hoping to go back to the traditional way of how we do breakfast and lunch for next year. Is that correct?
That is our plan. The condition would be when masks are off, assuming masks are off, how close can people be together when they're eating, assuming that distance is what it used to be? Yes, we'll return them to the cafeterias, which facilitates our ability to feed them as we did in the past.
Any other additional comments, questions, or concerns on 3.09? Hearing none. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes 9-0. Mrs. Bowman, could you please read 3.13?
Sure. I'd like to make a motion, 3.13, Taxpayer Bill of Rights. Be it resolved that the Neshaminy Board of School Directors hereby approves the adoption of the Neshaminy School District Taxpayer Bill of Rights for 2021, 2022 in accordance with the Board Policy 621.
Thank you, Mrs. Bowman. The motion's been made on 3.13. May I have a second? Second by Mr. Cirillo, was it? Any comments, questions, or concerns? I'd just like to add, if the public wishes to read these documents, they're available under tonight's agenda meeting on Board Docs. And you can also view the board's policy 621 on the district's website under School Board. Any additional comments, questions, or concerns? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstention? Motion passes 9-0. That brings us to Section 4.01, Administrative Appointments. Be it resolved that the Neshaminy Board of School Directors hereby approves the following appointments of administrative staff, and there is one name on the list. Motion's been made on 4.01. May I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Kovitz. Any comments, questions, or concerns? Dr. McGee, if you can just take a moment to explain this resolution.
Sure. The candidate there, Mr. McAloon, will, with the board's take over from Mrs. Pennington, who is sliding to the co-curricular director at Neshaminy High School. Mr. McAloon will resume Mrs. Pennington's assistant principal roles, including scheduling, guidance function, and assessment.
Thank you. Any additional comments, questions, or concerns? Hearing none. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstention? Motion passes 9-0.
Mr. Parentano, Mr. McAloon's in the back of the auditorium. Congratulations.
Congratulations, Mr. Lacaloon. If you wish, you're free to come to the podium and say a few words if you wish. Just so we can put a face to the name.
I'm not sure he really had a choice there, Mr. Parentano.
Yeah, he was being modest, believe me.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Mr. Paratano. I'd just like to thank Mr. Paratano and the entire school board, as well as Dr. McGee and the cabinet for this opportunity. I look forward to working with the students at Neshaminy High School, as well as the staff and the administration. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much, Mr. McAloon, and congratulations again. Something tells me you got more applause than Mr. Bowman last meeting. Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Bowman. I apologize.
I'm not sure if Mr. Bowman got any applause, to be honest with you. I'm pretty sure there's a video somewhere on it, so we can check.
That'll bring us to 4.02. Mrs. Boyle, would you read 4.02 for us, please?
4.02, administrative retirement resignations. Resolved that the Neshaminy Board of School Directors hereby approves the following retirement resignations of administrative staff, and there is one name.
Thank you, Mrs. Boyle. Motion's been made on 4.02. May I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mrs. Bowman, was it? There you go. That name again. Any comments, questions, or concerns? I would just like to state that Miss Joanne Holland, who is the principal of Pequessing Middle School, has spent her entire career, 33 years here at Neshaminy. We wish her well, many years of happy and healthy retirement. Thank you for your service to Neshaminy. Anyone else? Hearing none. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes 9-0. Mr. Sullivan, 5.01, please.
Retirements, resignations, and of assignments. Resolved that the Neshaminy Board of School Directors hereby approves the following retirements, resignations of certified staff. And there's 59 names on the list. Would you like me to read them, Mr. Puritano?
No, that's okay. Thank you, Mr. Sullivan, for the offer. There's been a motion made on 5.01. May I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mrs. Hollenbeck. Any comments, questions, or concerns? Hearing none. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstention? Motion passes 9-0. Mr. Marrington, could you read?
Mr. Parentano, if I could just interrupt for a second.
Go right ahead, Dr. McGee.
Of those 59, 58 of them are your annual people who've completed their assignments because they're temporary one-year assignments. Buried in the middle there, line 27, is Mrs. Hagedorn, who's retiring from Neshaminy after 35 years. So you usually pick that up, but I apologize. I did not point that out earlier.
You're correct. I usually did. I seen everybody was months, and I missed her. Thank you very much for 35 years of dedicated service to the children of Neshaminy. Wish you well in your retirement. 5.02, Mr. Marrington, please.
Okay, 5.02, certified staff appointments. Resolved that the Neshaminy Board of School Directors hereby approves the following appointments for certified staff. And there are 33 names.
Thank you, Mr. Marrington. Motion's been made on 5.02. May I have a second?
Second.
Second by, is that Mrs. Boyle? Mrs. Boyle. Any comments, questions, or concerns? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes 9-0. I'd like to make a master motion on 5.03, certified tenure awards, 5.04, leaves of absence, 5.05, changes to leaves, 5.06, co-curricular appointments, and 5.07, summer ESY appointments. A master motion's been made. May I have a second? Second by Mr. Kovitz. Any comments, questions, or concerns? Hearing none. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes 9-0. Mr. Allen, could you read 6.01, please?
Certainly, Mr. Pertano. I'd like to bring a motion to the floor on 6.01, retirements, resignations, and end of assignments. Resolved that the Neshaminy Board of School Directors hereby approves the following retirements, resignations of support staff. And there are 8 names on that list.
Thank you, Mr. Allen. Motion's been made on 6.01. May I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mrs. Bowman. Any comments, questions, or concerns? I'd like to just identify that we have 2 members of our support staff, Deborah Greenleaf with 35 years of service, and Susan Hartman with 26 years of service, and Barbara Perganini, if I'm saying that correctly, Perugini, with 14 years of service. And we want to thank them for their many years dedicated to Neshaminy and wish them well in their retirement. Any additional comments or questions? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstention? Motion passes 9-0. I'd like to make a master motion on 6.02, support staff appointments, 6.03, leaves of absence, 6.04, revised leaves of absence, 6.05, return leaves of absence. The master motion's been made. May I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Sullivan. Any comments, questions, or concerns? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes 9-0. Mrs. Bowman, 7.01, please.
I'd like to make a motion, 7.01, out-of-district placements. Whereas in order to meet the educational programming needs of specific students, it may be advantageous to utilize the services of out-of-district providers. Now therefore, be it resolved that the Neshaminy Board of School Directors hereby approves the out-of-district placements identified below. And there is 1 student.
Thank you, Mrs. Bowman. A motion's been made on 7.01. May I have a second? Second by Mr. Kovitz. Any comments, questions, or concerns? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes 9-0. Mrs. Hollenbeck, 8.01, please. Yes.
8.01, appointment of board secretary and assistant board secretary. Whereas 24 PS 4-404 and 24 PS 4-434 of the school code permit the Board of School Directors to elect a secretary and an assistant secretary. Now therefore be it resolved that the Neshaminy Board of School Directors hereby appoints Jennifer Burns to serve as secretary for a 4-year term from July 1st, 2021 through June 30th, 2025, with an annual salary of $10,300. Be it further resolved that Donna Moran Griff be appointed Assistant Secretary to the Neshaminy Board of School Directors effective July 1st, 2021, with no additional compensation associated with the appointment.
Thank you, Ms. Sollenbach. A motion's been made on 8.01. May I have a second? Mr. Kovitz. Any comments, questions, or concerns? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstention? Motion passes 9-0. I want to thank Mrs. Burns and Mrs. Griff just for your support of the board and its operations. We'd be lost without the two of you, so thank you very much. Mr. Allen, 8.02, please.
Thank you, Mr. Furtado. I'd like to bring a motion to the floor, 8.02, the Bucks County Technical High School budget for 2020 through 2021. Whereas, in order to provide technical high school education for our students, 6 Lower Bucks school districts cooperatively established the Bucks County Technical High School. And whereas each participating school district must annually vote on the technical high school's annual budget. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Neshaminy Board of School Directors hereby approves the 2021 through 2022 Bucks County Technical High School budget in the total amount of $31,469,644, operating budget of $29,448,532, with the Neshaminy School District 2021 through 2022 net fiscal payment to be $5,139,782.
Thank you, Mr. Allen. A motion's been made on 8.02. May I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mrs. Bowman. Any comments, questions, or concerns? Hearing none. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes 9-0. Mr. Sullivan, 8.03, please.
8.03, Sunday facility usage. Whereas according to the board policy number 800, facilities fields may not be scheduled on Sundays without school board approval. Now therefore be resolved that the Neshaminy Board of School Directors hereby approves Sunday usage for Guys Racing Club as requested Sunday usage for Neshaminy High School on Sunday, June 13, 2021, and Mustang Challenge Flag Football and Cheerleaders have requested usage for Neshaminy High School football field on Sundays from September 12, 2021 through November 21st, 2021.
Thank you, Mr. Sullivan. Motion's been made on 8.03. May I have a second? Second. Second by Mr. Cirillo. Any comments, questions, or concerns? Hearing none. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstention? Motion passes 9-0. Mr. Cirillo, 8.04, please.
I'd like to make a motion to approve 8.04, Bucks County Intermediate Unit Number 22, Special Education Contracted Services for 2021-22. Whereas the Neshaminy School District is required by law to provide special education and related services to children from preschool through age 21, and whereas a number of our students have significant academic needs for which we do not operate programs. Now therefore be it resolved that the Neshaminy Board of School Directors hereby approves the service agreement with the Bucks County Intermediate Unit Number 22 for the 2021-22 school year at a projected estimated cost of $4,297,526.
Thank you, Mr. Cirillo. Motion's been made on 8.04. May I have a second? Second. Second by Mrs. Hollenbeck. Any comments, questions, or concerns? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstention? Motion passes 9-0. Mr. Kovitz, would you read 8.05, please?
Sure, I'd like to put forward 8.05, Student Settlement Agreement. Whereas the Neshaminy School District has outlined a private and confidential agreement with the family of student 7XXXX5. Now therefore be it resolved that the Neshaminy Board of School Directors hereby approves providing for the educational programming as specified in said agreements.
Thank you, Mr. Kovitz. Motion been made on 8.05. May I have a second? Second. Second by Mr. Cirillo. Any comments, questions, or concerns? Hearing none. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes 9-0. Mrs. Boyle, 9.01, please.
I'd like to make a motion to approve 9.01, which is the first reading of policy. The Board Policy Committee is continuing their policy review cycle and revision of existing district policies. Posted here are policies for first reading, and there are 6 policies listed. You want me to read them? Okay. 903, public participation in board meetings. 904, public attendance at school events. 905, advisory groups. 906, public complaint procedures. 907, school visitors. And 911, news media relations.
Thank you, Mrs. Boyle. Motion's been made on 9.01. May I have a second? Second. Second by Mr. Cirillo. Any comments, questions, or concerns? I'd just like to alert the public, if they want to review these policies themselves, you can go to our board docs page and visit tonight's agenda, and there will be PDFs of all the policies for your review. Any additional comments, questions, or concerns? Hearing none. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstention? Motion passes 9-0. That brings us to other board business. Does any board member have business that they would wish to bring? Seeing none, this brings us to our second period of public comment. Is there anyone in attendance that wishes to approach the podium for public comment? Seeing none, I'll move on to board comment. Are there any board members this evening that wish to make comment? Go right ahead, Mr. Allen.
I have a couple, excuse me, I have a couple comments to make this evening, Mr. Bertano. First off, I want to thank the board for accepting the tech school budget, reaffirming our commitment to our students who are pursuing education and careers in skilled trades. They may attend off campus, but they are important members of our community, and I am just thrilled that we are reaffirming that commitment to supporting them. You know, all of our students have faced challenges over the past 2 years, but you know, I was thinking the other day as I was with my laptop with the YouTube video, trying to learn how to, you know, work on a washing machine, how difficult it is to learn a hands-on trade remotely. And I just want to shout out to them, what a fantastic job they've done, as all of our students have done. The next point I understand the Pennsylvania Memorial Day Parade took a hiatus last year, but my friends on that committee have told me they are running the parade again this coming Saturday, and that our Neshaminy band is going to be participating. And I just want to say how thrilled I am to welcome them back to the parade. They had other commitments the last couple times. Look for me at Our Lady of Grace School. My family and I are almost always there. Completing my thought here tonight is I want to thank you, Mr. Stanley, once again for sharing the video, the car parade, and the prom. You can find that online. It was just wonderful to see such happy faces, joy throughout the community. And again, I just, hats off to you and to all the students and the staff who pulled that off. That's it. Thank you.
Dr. McGee, do you have any comments you'd wish to add this evening?
Thank you, Mr. Parentano. Yes, just as we approach the traditional beginning of summer, our Memorial Day weekend, if we all can pause and enjoy our new freedom from COVID rules, but also pause for the traditional why we pause to celebrate during Memorial Day for those who've given us their ultimate sacrifice to celebrate our freedom. So I wish everybody a safe, happy, and healthy. And if you could pause to remember those who are no longer with us and allow us the ability to argue as we have been for the past months, years. So thank you, Mr. Parentano.
Thank you, Dr. McGee. Very needed and well-placed comments. Any additional board member have any comment? Seeing none, I'd just like to take an opportunity. Tonight we passed budgets for the Bucks County IU and the tech school, as Mr. Allen and Mrs. Bowman as our representatives on the tech school board. I want to thank them for all their hard work during the year, basically doing double duty on another board to represent Neshaminy and Neshaminy students' interests and work to get the budget in a very manageable position. I just want you to know your work doesn't go unnoticed, and I appreciate that. In addition, Mr. Cirillo supports the board and the district on the IU board, which often requires him, and as Mrs. Boyle did for a number of years before that, driving up to Doylestown. Of course, this year during COVID, everything was done virtually, but there's still the requirement that it's really another board to be on, and we appreciate your service and the hard work that you put in there. So I just want to make sure that doesn't go unnoticed as well. To the public, we've received multiple emails concerning masks, as Dr. McGee alluded to in his opening statements in the superintendent report. We will follow the guidance of the Bucks County Department of Health. As they indicate, there's no one that I believe sits on this board that doesn't want to see a full normal opening to our district come, I think, last week in August, is it this year, or is it first week in September?
The first day of school for kindergarten, 5th and 9th grade is September 1st, and everybody else September 2nd.
So we all hope that these strategies that have been employed for the last 18 plus months will allow us to be able to do that, and it won't take a day longer than the recommendation comes. We'll have a discussion with our administration and our school staff, and we would like nothing more than a more normalized opening come September 1st, and that's what we hope to do. Other than that, I want to thank everyone that came out this evening. It's nice to see a crowd starting to develop again at board meetings. We appreciate that. Your input's important. And I'd like to remind the public that we can be viewed virtually at www.neshaminy.org/meetings on the evening of the meeting. Our website will post the link. And our next committee meeting is June 1st. The Business Operations Committee, 6:30 in the district boardroom here at Maple Point. On June 8th, we will have a board work session at 7 p.m. here in the Maple Point Auditorium. And on 6/22, we will have another public board meeting, 7 o'clock here in this auditorium. Seeing no other business, I'd like to make a motion for adjournment. Second by Mrs. Hollenbeck. Beat Mr. Sullivan to the punch. Unbelievable. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Well, thank you all. Motion passes 9-0.